I noticed that was a lengthy interview, exit interview. Was it because of the uncertainty about Phil and yourself and all that? Did you have to say some goodbyes, or did you have to leave it as like, hopefully I see you down the road, or was there any of that emotion to that meeting? Or?
I mean, somewhat, but you know, we had to cover a number of different things. Unfortunately, you have the task of, you know, deciding playoff shares and who gets what, and so we had to talk about that.
You got medium money?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I need you to, when I leave, I need you to stay in this room and wait. And your check will be here shortly. No, we had to talk about a number of things, and but you know, we talked about President Obama and General McChrystal and you know, other stuff as well. So
did you know the latest that he has been fired?
No, I did not know that. See what I missed in an hour?
Tennis match too.
Yeah.
What was it?
No, it wasn't overly sentimental, you know, per se. But we did have to cover quite a few things.
Okay, percentage-wise, how much of it was basketball? How much was it business, and how much was it just chatting?
Almost evenly, I'd say a third, and a third. You know, there's only so much that Mitch could really say, you know, until July 1. So those conversations were really limited. You know, Phil, I actually told him before, you know, we even got into it really heavily that I wouldn't press the issue, you know, and I would respect his process that he needs to go through before he makes his decision. And that I promised him I would come down here and, you know, say the same thing, that, you know, I think we respect him enough to give him that space to make the decision on his own and not necessarily make him feel pressured, you know, to come back. But I don't think he's confused over how we feel about it, you know. But I think we're all just trying to, you know, allow him to go through that process on his own.
Derek, is remaining a starter, I guess, a central priority, or is it just more about a quantifiable role, whatever that may be?
No, it's a priority, but I don't know if I necessarily call it a deal breaker. You know, it just depends. But you know, I don't think I'd ever walk into a meeting with a general manager or a coach and hand him, you know, my decision to say I don't want to start.
Did either you or they bring that up?
No,
starting?
No, because Mitch knows how I feel about that. We've been in this position now 3 times, I think, and you know, from the previous 2 times, he knew coming into this one, you know, regardless of what he says or, you know, what the situation is with the team, there, I'm never going to give that up. You know, that'll have to be taken from me.
Derek, you mentioned your family obligation. Do they want you to come back, and do they want you to remain with the Lakers?
I would say so. I mean, you know, my wife and our family, you know, a lot of our family's based here in LA, and you know, our families are important to us, and so you know, I think we've, you know, had so many great experiences.
LA is home.
Yeah, you know, LA is home. You know, it's where we've started our family, based our family, and you know, but we've also, you know, been in the business long enough to know that, you know, things don't always, you know, go the way you want them to go. So, you know, as much as we have our feelings about it, you know, we're still, you know, making sure that we keep things in perspective as a family in terms of what decisions we may be forced to make.
There's a moment early in the playoffs where I walked by and just casually mentioned, you know, maybe people throwing a lot of dirt on you, and just sort of smiled and had a good game and kind of kept walking. As the playoffs went on, how much satisfaction was there in being able to come through and prove people wrong after a season's worth of criticism like that?
You know, I think I mean, for me, it just always, it feels good to come through, I guess kind of no matter what, you know, had been or was said, you know, throughout the regular season or previously or in other seasons. But, you know, to be honest, I don't know if I would like it any other way. I mean, part of the reason why I'm here is because of what I was told I couldn't do. You know, even as a kid in high school, in college, that's what I've heard, you know, my whole basketball career basically. And so, you know, I guess I've developed an ability to just kind of let that be what it is and let people say what they, you know, have a right to say in terms of their opinion. And just kind of keep doing my job and let the results, you know, then kind of go back and be my voice, you know, for months earlier. But it is what it is, man. I really, you know, I've come to expect it, you know, accept it for what it is, and just kind of keep moving past it and, you know, enjoy this part of the year, every year.
Time for one last question, folks.
Derek, July 1st, if other teams are calling you, are you not answering their calls and waiting to go through the Lakers in that process first?
No, I mean, I think I have a responsibility, probably to my family as much as myself, to answer the calls and, you know, have the appropriate conversations and make sure there's an understanding of what options are available to us. I think I would teach my kids that, you know what I mean? Like I would teach them to make sure they gather all the information and do their due diligence before they make an important decision. And so, you know, I think I'll go through that same process. But, you know, I won't make a decision, you know what I mean, before I know exactly where I stand here.